For 9 months, a developing baby lives completely submerged in fluid. But this presents a fascinating biological problem. How does a human survive that long without ever taking a breath of air? You might guess the baby extracts oxygen from the surrounding amniotic fluid, much like a fish uses water. But that doesn't happen. A fetus's lungs are completely filled with fluid and entirely inactive. No gas exchange happens there at all. This antique illustration shows the biological workaround. The fetus is attached to an external life support system made of 2 parts, the placenta, which anchors to the mother, and the coiled umbilical cord, which acts as the physical lifeline. Because the baby's own organs are still under construction, these temporary structures take over the work. Together, they act as the lungs, the digestive system, and the kidneys. Survival relies entirely on this remote interface. It handles every heavy physiological task from the outside, keeping the developing body alive, so it has the time and resources to grow. The process starts at the uterine wall, where the placenta attaches. Here, the tissue is constantly bathed in a rich supply of the mother's blood. But biology enforces a strict rule. Maternal blood and fetal blood never actually touch. They flow in completely separate loops. To understand how they communicate, we have to look at the placental membrane. It acts as an incredibly fine, highly advanced biological filter between those 2 separate streams. Essential resources, like oxygen and nutrients, are small enough to slip right through this barrier. They move from the mother's side directly into the fetal bloodstream through a process called diffusion. At the same time, this membrane acts as a shield. It deflects larger, potentially dangerous elements, like the mother's immune cells, and buffers the fragile baby from the physical pressure of the mother's heartbeat. It intimately connects 2 lives to share life-saving resources, while keeping their circulatory systems completely separated for mutual safety. Once the oxygen crosses over, it enters this single umbilical vein, colored red here to show it is rich in oxygen, and begins the journey from the placenta toward the baby's abdomen. You'll notice the cord itself is thick and coiled. It's coated in a gelatinous substance called Wharton's jelly, which protects the vessels inside from kinking or being squeezed shut as the baby moves. As this fresh blood enters the baby's body, it hits a roadblock, the inactive, fluid-filled lungs. Pumping all that blood into organs that aren't exchanging gas yet would be a massive waste of energy. This vintage schematic maps out the solution. The fetal circulatory system uses specialized biological shortcuts called shunts. Notice the arrows routing blood away from the lungs entirely. Instead of going to the lungs or the liver, these bypasses funnel the oxygen-rich blood straight into the heart, which then pumps it directly up to the rapidly developing brain and upper body. The tissues consume that oxygen to build muscles, nerves, and developing bones. In exchange, the blood collects carbon dioxide and other waste products. Now depleted, the blood begins the return trip. It exits the baby and travels down the 2 umbilical arteries back to the placenta, where the mother's system absorbs the waste so she can exhale the carbon dioxide for both of them. This entire circulatory loop is uniquely engineered to keep the baby's own major organs bypassed and offline, waiting for the exact moment they are ready to function. That moment arrives at birth. When the baby leaves the fluid environment and enters the open air, the chest cavity expands and the lungs inflate with air for the very first time, pushing the remaining fluid out. Taking that first breath of air creates a massive, instantaneous pressure change inside the chest. The pressure drops in the lungs and spikes in the left side of the heart. That sudden pressure shift acts as a physical switch. It forces those temporary biological shortcuts inside the heart to slam shut, permanently rerouting the blood into the newly active lungs. With the baby breathing independently, the external life support system is no longer needed. The umbilical cord is severed, a completely painless process for both mother and child, because the cord contains no nerve endings. Over the next few weeks, the small stump left on the baby's abdomen will dry up and fall off, leaving behind the belly button. Meanwhile, the mother's body detaches the placenta and delivers it as the afterbirth. The placenta and umbilical cord operate as flawless pieces of temporary biological engineering. They build a human from scratch, keep it alive, and perfectly dismantle themselves the moment the job is done. And just as a reminder, this video is for educational awareness. If you have questions about pregnancy, always consult with your doctor for a proper medical evaluation.